Vulnerabilities in software security involving buffer overflow and integer overflow.
So it's important that we look at the definitions of two terms. The first is vulnerabilities, which is a weakness that allows an attacker to access the system's information and potentially attack the program. It is generally a flaw that a hacker exploits. The second term we are going to look at is software security, which is a system's design that ensures information is protected. This is important during each step of the software development lifecycle. Integer overflow is a result of an arithmetic operation like addition, subtraction, or multiplication, exceeding the maximum storage size of the integer type. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what are the risks associated with integer overflow? When this occurs, the interpreted value will appear to have wrapped around the maximum value and starting again at the minimum value. This is similar to a clock that represents 1300 hours by pointing at 1 o'clock.
An additional example of integer overflow occurred on the Facebook website, where individuals created a group and aspirations that would reach a certain amount of users to cause an integer error. However, Facebook created a large enough integer bit value to avoid this issue. This can also be applied to when a value is being inputted. If that value or those values exceed the space allotted, then you'll have an integer error. In late 2004, Comair Airlines was forced to round over 1,000 flights after their flight scheduling system crashed. They used a 16-bit integer value that had a max amount of 32,768 bytes, where the number of crew changes were stored. This crash was caused by bad weather, leading to an excessive amount of crew changes and eventually leading to the error. How to avoid integer overflow. Know your limits. Get familiar with the smallest and largest values for each data type for your program language. 2. Check your input. Check reasonable values before conducting mathematical operations for your program.
A buffer overflow takes place when data is written beyond the boundaries of a fixed length buffer. This is considered the nuclear bomb of the software industry, considering it is one of the most persistently exploited security vulnerabilities. Like previously stated, this can happen by writing outside the bounds of a block of allocated memory, which can corrupt data, crash the program, or cause the execution of malicious code. C++ is particularly vulnerable to buffer overflows.
This can be compared to pouring a lot of water into a small cup and having that water spill to other areas, as data would overwrite adjacent data or functions.
One of the first ever internet vulnerability attacks that was experienced widely was known as the Morris worm, which used a stack buffer overflow to get itself running and cause computers to slow and buckle under the weight of unnecessary processing. This attack affected over 60,000 computers and practically shut down the internet for nearly a week in 1988.
Here's a sample program, with the space allotted to the array buffer at 10 and the for loop function is set to 15. The program first compiles and runs, however, an error is quickly detected and the program crashes. How to avoid buffer overflow. Make sure you have enough space when you're declaring your arrays to ensure the array can handle the amount. 2. Be sure to test your array values when you're coding. And remember, software security affects all aspects of the software development lifecycle. Remember, vulnerabilities are what hacking groups take advantage of to access information.